Afternoon, Ralph.
Hello.
Hi. I just want to ask you about Jan Bednarek. I think he's one of only two players, along with Ward-Prowse, to play every game for you this season. How impressed have you? He doesn't get spoken about too much, but how impressed have you been by his consistency, especially given the centre-backs have changed and the goalie's changed a couple of times? He seems to be delivering a consistent level of performances now, no matter who he plays with.
He's robust. He is one of the best defensive fighters. I say always a firefighter who really does everything to protect your own goal. And I think the biggest development he made with the ball, he's getting better and better with better decision making. Still not always the right one, but it's getting better and better. He's getting calmer and calmer, and this was maybe the biggest, I wouldn't say surprise, but the biggest positive in so far in his game that he really showed, and the drive to develop his game with the ball, and this was maybe the biggest step he made so far.
Obviously, it sounds like the defence might change again tomorrow with injuries and suspensions and things like that. There's a week to go in the transfer window. I know you said it's difficult to bring players in this month. Would you still like to get a full-back as cover? Or are you happy with Jake and Jan and what they can offer? Are you still hoping to get something done if you can?
We are still looking, yes, and we know this. We know that we have that not the most experience to replace them. So we need a good package if you want to make us strong on this position. And you never know. You see how quick it can go, and suddenly you lose both, and then you are a little bit out of experience on this position, and it's sometimes important to have a good replacement there. Yes.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Okay, Dan Sheldon. Thank you, Jordan. Good afternoon, Ralph. You'll both be pleased to know the birthday banners have now gone. I checked the room before I came in.
There's such an app I've seen where you can change your background, you know?
Yeah, I know. I did
in front of the, I don't know, New York skyline or whatever. Makes it a little bit more global, eh?
Yeah, exactly. A bit more glamorous. One of the, assuming Jake Vokins is going to come in and replace Ryan Bertrand against Arsenal, I think it's over a year ago now that you gave him his first team debut in the cup, and he obviously scored along with Will Smallbone in that game. It's been tough for him to get in and around the squad since then, but what's he shown you over the last 12 months that has made you kind of turn to him again, and you've given him some more games in the FA Cup, and he's been on the bench, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe one of the a little bit underestimated players we have here, but especially with the ball, I think he learned a lot since he's working with us, and his left foot is fantastic, has a good cross, can also score goals there, and with his attitude, especially his work attitude of deep runs, of running in behind, he learned a lot, and he's getting better and better. I think the defense work, yes, it's still something he's not a natural left back. I think he's coming as a left winger, and that is always the issue then, that you are in some defensive duels have some things to learn. But I think with Ryan, he has somebody who he can definitely watch very well, and this is the behavior what we need: aggressive, good on the front foot, defending forward. And this he will learn, he will get better, and games like this tomorrow will help him.
And equally on the other side, assuming you turn to Jan Valery, he obviously came on against Liverpool in a number 10 role, and almost without the defensive shackles around his ankles, he looked like a completely different kind of player. Perhaps when it's in defensively, we saw Jack Stevens sort of give him a little shake the other day, say, look, Jan, remember where you are, you're a defender type thing. Is that the hardest part with the kids that you find, is getting them to learn your defensive system? I've spoken at length with Yannick Vestergaard about the nuances of what you're doing at the back. Is that a really difficult thing to do for the kids, or?
Not really, I think, because it is so clear, and it is easier to be on the jump when you know that somebody's protecting your back, as if you always have to look around, can I go, or should I stay? And this is this is, I think, more difficult for the young lads. And so when you pay attention, when you are open-minded, when you enjoy what we are doing, then it can be easier for a young lad to step in, I think.
Thank you, Ralph. Good luck for tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Okay, John Cross.
Hello, Ralph. I just wondered, I realise this situation is not new for you, having games in very quick succession. But for a team like yours, you know, that's so exciting, so dynamic, works so hard in the game, what on earth do you do between games? I mean, is there literally, you know, nothing you can do in terms of, I don't know, fitness or training work? You must feel so restricted as a manager. How difficult is it?
Yeah, in the moment it's a big challenge because, and this is what I've spoken very often about, the reason why we cannot use every facilities we have here, and we have a lot of good recovery facilities, and if you in this busy time cannot use them, and then it's not the perfect recovery, and this is maybe a reason why we are also struggling a little bit with injuries this season, because last season we had also an intense time over Christmas and we had no injuries at all, and I think because of the COVID situation and because of the restrictions we have, it is definitely clear that there are few percent missing in bringing the guys back in the best possible shape. That it is possible even with our intense way of playing football. We have shown also last season that it is possible, definitely. But at the moment, this is maybe an issue we have, yes.
I was just going to ask you, you know, if you've beaten Arsenal on Saturday, you face them again tomorrow, can that mentality, can that little mental edge give you a little advantage? Or, you know, does it count in these situations when clearly you are going to be, you know, struggling for fitness and indeed for players?
The question, if it's then easier, I must say no. If it's a weaker team that is coming out because they lost against us, I must say no. I expect more the opposite, and we have to prepare for a very, very tough second game now. But what I can also say is if we are scared for that we have to lose more now, no. We are convinced about that we can play better than on Saturday, definitely, and that's what we want to do tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, Tom Leach.
Hello, Ralph. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
All right, I heard you praise Ibrahima Diallo on Saturday for how robust he's been since he's been with you. That made me wonder how important that is to you when you're scouting potential January transfers or summer transfers. Do you look at their injury record? Do you look at potentially any problems they've had recently or maybe years down the line? Or do you never truly know how robust a player is until he sets foot a stay forward?
Doesn't make sense to look too much on injury history because Ibra was long injured before we took him, and Sali was long fit before you took him. So I think this explains everything. Huh? You're never sure. Huh? This is a part of a player. You always need luck, and you always need the right player in the right moment. But sometimes injuries are coming, and then you're struggling. This is a part of a player that you can only control in a minimum, not really a lot.
On Diallo, I think you said yourself on Saturday how aggressive he was against the ball, and how good he was for you in that aspect. When you see something like that in a new player, how much does that potentially reshape your approach overall to your philosophy or how you play? Do you see something in a player like that and what he has different to Romeu and think to yourself, okay, we can now unlock a new way of playing against the ball?
I mean, it was relatively clear when I saw him in the summer coming that he is explosive, that he has also a good speed. But we had a fantastic center with Ori and Prausi, and they played some fantastic games there and know each other very good. So it was tough for him to step in. But I always knew when he gets the chance to show up, he will immediately grab it with both hands and show up and play some good games. That was not so surprising for me, to be honest, because I saw in the sessions how good he is. And what I really like from this player is his attitude and his calmness to wait for the right moment and only giving pressure on the pitch, not speaking about anything or coming and ask me. I went to him twice and said, like the way you train, like the way you work. The moment will come, and then you are there. And yeah, he was fine. He was absolutely settled, controlled, and definitely also from his mentality, exactly the player that you want to have in your team. And I don't have a problem when Ori comes back now, because for such a player you always find a position in the team, and when you have such a strong player, we have a few similar positions to the 6, so I can imagine him also on the 10 or as a fullback if it's necessary.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
Okay, Adrian Kajumba.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Ralph, just on Kyle Walker-Peters, did you say it was a quad injury that he did?
Yeah, it seems, yes.
And how do you expect to, in terms of trying to find out how long he's going to be out for? Is that something you think might find out today or tomorrow? Is it going to be maybe later on in the week? You have to leave it to assess, maybe.
I haven't spoken now. It was too short to speak now with the doctors before the press conference. They will speak with me after the press conference, and then we know a little bit more maybe about it.
And just on Kyle, he's obviously been a very big part of your plan. So even just losing him for one game is obviously a setback and a loss, isn't it?
Yeah, losing players from the first 11 is never nice, but can never be the biggest issue. We will always have to be able to replace them and to stay strong.
And just lastly, Ralph, last week you touched on it a little bit about the difficulty in trying to get players in this window because other managers, other clubs sort of holding on to their players in the case of COVID and isolation and all the sort of associated issues. Do you fear that that's going to sort of cost you in terms of trying to get a fullback in the rest of this week, maybe, or any other business you're trying to do, or are you still hopeful?
Still hopeful, because the more it comes to the end of the transfer window, the more pressure the players also make on the clubs because they want to leave. I mean, when you have no perspective anymore and not even part of the squad, I think it's also not good for the club to keep them, because when they not play, they are not getting better and they lose worth. And I think in the end, it must be a win-win-win situation for everybody. The best thing to do, and I'm still hopeful. Yes.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, everyone. See you next time.
See you. Bye bye.